Hi students, may Almighty's peace be upon you. I'm very happy to meet you again in this class. So we were discussing human health and diseases. So we were speaking about so many microbes, microorganisms, and in our last class we discussed about the types of diseases and some of the bacterial diseases. Before going to the next topic, I would like to tell you, we can protect ourselves, we can prevent ourselves from diseases and infections only by our personal hygiene. When we speak about all bacterial diseases, fungal diseases or helminthal diseases, all the transmission is by food, contaminated water, air or droplets. So sometimes we cannot fight against it, or sometimes we cannot prevent it, but most of the times if we are careful in the food what we eat, or from where we drink, or where we stand, where we spend our time, it's very, very important. Some of the boys will be watching, and the boys usually have the habit of eating many things, junk foods from outside. Try to understand how will it be. You just imagine, will it be okay to have a food which is opened, uncovered, which is not hygienic? Of course. So remember, be hygienic, you can save yourselves. My dear students, our next topic is viral diseases. That is, the diseases caused by virus. What are the diseases caused by virus? Before going into the detail, virus is the smallest microorganism. It is the smallest microorganism. We can say as the smallest of the bacterial size is equal to the largest of viral. Okay, the largest virus is equal to the smallest of bacteria. So such small the virus is. But one happy thing is, virus cannot live, the virus cannot survive outside the living system, outside the living body. The viral will infect, or the virus will be living. It is considered as animate object only if it is present inside a host. Okay, so if it comes out of the body, or when it is outside, then it is inanimate. It is considered as non-living only. Okay, when we speak about viral diseases, we have four types. Pneumotropic means something related with the respiratory diseases. So some respiratory diseases are there, even influenza likewise. So the respiratory problems, okay, they are called as pneumotropic diseases. The next is dermotropic diseases. Dermal means skin. So skin diseases. Our measles is, we say manalvari. Then we can say chicken pox, our chinnamai. So all these are skin related, dermatotropic diseases. Next is viscerotropic, through blood, infection through blood. The example is, can you say anything which is mixed up with the blood and forms diseases? Yes, hepatitis. Hepatitis is the example. Okay, hepatitis. Then finally neurotropic, central nervous system is affected. Central nervous system, neurotropic, our rabies, polio, all come under neurotropic diseases. So viral diseases are classified into four types: pneumotropic, dermatotropic, viscerotropic and neurotropic. My dear students, we see one common infection we get. Can you say what's that? Hutch. Yes, common cold, isn't it? So common cold is a viral disease caused by rhinovirus. So it is a viral disease, and viral diseases we cannot take antibiotics on. Whether you take medicine or you do not take medicine, it will be there for 3 days or 7 days, isn't it? As we all know. So common cold. We cannot prepare a vaccine for common cold. We say we prepared for corona, we prepared for AIDS, we prepared for hepatitis, etc., etc. But for common cold, there is no vaccine. It is difficult. Why? Because more than 150 types of virus are there to cause common cold. So how will you prepare vaccine for this 150 types of virus, isn't it? So it is difficult to prepare vaccine for common cold. My dear students, that is why common cold is common everywhere. Okay, so then we know about some of the virus. When we say what are the viruses, the recent coronavirus, as you all know. Then we have Nipah virus. From Kerala it started, and it was a respiratory problem. Still it's there, but somewhat controlled. It is a zoonotic disease caused by bat, they say. And we have a swine flu, H1N1 virus. H1N1 virus, that was also there. So many viruses in the world, there are many viruses, only few viruses are discussed. Apart from this, we have mumps, Tadai Bindi, they say. So the parotid gland, the salivary gland enlarges. So that is mumps. And hepatitis, jaundice, yellow fever. Okay, that is also viral disease. And dengue, we say as dengue, but in English we should call it as dengue and chikungunya. All are viral diseases. Now let's see videos. What are the symptoms and mode of transmission about the viral diseases?
Common cold. The causative agent is rhinovirus. The site of infection is respiratory tract. By the droplet infection, it is transmitted. Symptoms are nasal congestion and discharge, sore throat, cough, and headache. Mumps, which is caused by mumps virus, Paramyxovirus. The salivary glands, parotid glands, enlarges. Through the saliva and droplet infection, it is transmitted. The symptoms: enlargement of the parotid gland. The next viral disease is measles, which is caused by rubella virus, which is RNA virus, and paramyxovirus. The site of infection is skin and respiratory tract. In Tamil, this is called as Manalvari Ammai. Through the droplet infection, it is transmitted, and the symptoms are sore throat, runny nose, cough and fever, reddish rashes on the skin, as you see now in skin, neck and ears. Viral hepatitis is caused by hepatitis B virus. The site of infection is liver. Through parenteral route and blood transfusion, viral hepatitis is spread. The symptoms are liver damage, jaundice, nausea, yellowish eyes, fever, and pain in the abdomen. Chickenpox, which is called as Chinnammai in Tamil, caused by varicella zoster virus. The site of infections are respiratory tract, skin and nervous system. By the droplet infection and direct contact, this infection is transmitted. Mild fever with itchy skin, rashes and blisters are the symptoms of chickenpox. Poliomyelitis is an infection caused by RNA virus called poliovirus. The site of infections are intestine, brain and spinal cord. By the droplet infection through fecal oral route, this virus is transmitted. Fever with muscular stiffness and weakness, paralysis and respiratory failure are the symptoms of polio. dengue fever, which is also called bread-bone fever, caused by dengue virus or flavivirus. The site of infections are skin and blood, which is transmitted by mosquito called Aedes aegypti. The symptoms are severe flu-like illness with a sudden onset of fever and painful headache, muscle and joint pain. Chikungunya is the viral disease caused by alpha virus, also called Toga virus, which infects the nervous system. It is transmitted by mosquito called Aedes aegypti. The symptoms are fever and joint pain, headache and joint swelling with chillness.
Now, let's discuss about some of the protozoan diseases. Protozoa. We know this is phylum Protozoa, which we would have studied in the beginning. What's the example? Amoeba. Isn't it? We would have learnt about amoeba. So, more than 15 genera of Protozoa causes infections, some diseases. So now let's discuss about protozoan diseases. The common thing is Amoebiasis, which is caused by Entamoeba histolytica. It is present in our colon only, our large intestine only. Even then, when it pierces out, when it comes out, it causes some problems from diarrhea to dysentery with blood stool, mucus and blood stool are formed. Okay, the main thing is the vector, the carrier of this amoebiasis is our housefly, Musca domestica. So housefly is the vector, the carrier of this disease. Next is African sleeping sickness, which is common in African countries. So there are three types of African sleeping sickness, and depends upon the places. This is caused by Trypanosoma species, and the vector is tsetse fly. Tsetse fly is a blood-sucking insect. It acts as the vector for this African sleeping sickness, where they lose consciousness, they will be tired, splenomegaly, hepatomegaly are formed. The third one is Kala Azar. Kala, what do you mean by Kala? Not Rajini Kala means black actually. Of course, this is called as black fever. Okay, black fever, Kala Azar. So, black fever caused by, it is also called as Leishmaniasis, because it is caused by the organism Leishmania donovani, and the vector is sand fly. So here also the problems occurring as a splenomegaly, that is the enlargement of spleen, enlargement of the liver, and the infection occurs in bone marrow. So this black fever, Kala Azar. Then, as we all know, the final one is malaria. What is the malarial parasite? Plasmodium. Plasmodium species causes 4 different types of malaria are caused, and the vector is female Anopheles mosquito. By mosquito, this malaria is transmitted to the healthy human body. These are some of the protozoan diseases. Now let's discuss in detail about the life cycle of Plasmodium. So how the Plasmodium species is developed in human being and in mosquito. Let's discuss.
Amoebiasis is also called amoebic dysentery, is caused by the organism Entamoeba histolytica, which lives in the human large intestine and feeds on mucus and bacteria. Infective stage of this parasite is the trophozoite, which penetrates the walls of the host intestine and secretes histolytic enzymes causing ulceration, bleeding, abdominal pain, and stools with excess mucus. Symptoms of amoebiasis can range from diarrhea to dysentery with blood and mucus in the stool. House flies acts as a carrier for transmitting the parasite from contaminated feces and water. African sleeping sickness is caused by Trypanosoma species. Trypanosoma is generally transmitted by the blood-sucking tsetse flies. Three species of Trypanosoma cause sleeping sickness in man. First one is Trypanosoma gambians, which is transmitted by tsetse fly and causes Gambian or Central African sleeping sickness. Second one is Trypanosoma rhodesiensis, is transmitted by Glossina morsitans, causing Rhodesian or East African sleeping sickness. Third, we have Trypanosoma cruzi, is transmitted by a bug called Triatoma magista, which causes Chagas disease or American trypanosomiasis. Next disease is Kala-Azar or visceral leishmaniasis, caused by Leishmania donovani, which is transmitted by the vector sand fly. The symptoms are weight loss, anemia, fever, enlargement of spleen and liver. Infection occurs in endothelial cells, bone marrow, liver, lymph glands and blood vessels of the spleen.
So life cycle of Plasmodium. When we speak about Plasmodium, there are two hosts. One is man and another one is mosquito. Mosquito acts as the primary host and man acts as the secondary host. Actually, Plasmodium, we have Plasmodium vivax, Plasmodium ovale, Plasmodium malariae, Plasmodium falciparum. 4 species cause malarial infection. And female Anopheles mosquito is the vector carrier for Plasmodium species. What happens now? So, when a mosquito which has the sporozoites of this Plasmodium species, when a mosquito bites a healthy man, okay, it has sporozoite inside, sporozoite. So when it bites the man, this sporozoite enters the bloodstream and it reaches the liver cells. In liver cells, so if it is the liver cell, in liver cells it becomes big and form mitotic division, fully forms, it divides and numerous merozoites are formed. These merozoites after forming signet stage, rinse stage, then together the merozoites are released. These merozoites, they enter the RBCs. So that is why we say it as pre-erythrocytic stage. Pre-erythrocytic because it has not come to the erythrocytes, RBC. Pre-erythrocytic. Now it is entering into RBCs. So now we say it as erythrocytic. So in RBCs, these merozoites enter. Again, many merozoites formed and they rupture. And when the merozoites are released, hemozoin, a chemical substance which is toxin, is also liberated, released. So this only causes fever during the malaria. So now next, this hemozoin, this merozoites, everything, it is just mixed up with the blood now. Okay, and some merozoites form male gamete and female gamete. This is the cycle in man. Okay, now this mosquito, when a mosquito injects or sucks the blood from this person, these merozoites are taken by the mosquito. These merozoites which has male gamete and female gamete. So male gamete, it forms as a spindle shaped structure. Female will be circular, spherical only. Now the spindle shape, this one, it reaches and it forms a zygote. This zygote forms as a long slender subject structure called ookinete. This ookinete, it grows out of it happens in the stomach of the mosquito. Now it reaches the stomach wall, it pierces the wall and comes out and forms a oocyst or oocyte. A cyst is formed and oocytes are present. It is multiplied in more number and many sporozoites are formed. So this is sporozoites. These sporozoites, it reaches the salivary gland of the mosquito. Salivary gland of the mosquito. When it reaches the salivary gland of the mosquito, again the cycle starts. When it injects a healthy man, these sporozoites are released to the body. So this is the life cycle of the Plasmodium.
Plasmodium vivax is a digenous parasite involving two hosts. Mosquito, female Anopheles mosquito as the primary host and man as the secondary host. The life cycle of Plasmodium involves three phases, namely Strizodrony, Diamodrony and Sporodrony. The parasite first enters the human blood stream through the bite of an infected female Anopheles mosquito. As it feeds, the mosquito injects the saliva containing the sporozoites. Sporozoites are developed in mosquitoes. These sporozoites within the bloodstream immediately enters hepatic cells of the liver. You can see the sporozoite mixes in the bloodstream. This is sporozoite, and it enters the hepatic cells, that is liver cells. In the liver cell, they undergo multiple asexual fission called strizodrony and produce numerous merozoites. These merozoites are released from liver cells and penetrate RBCs. Inside the RBC, the merozoite begins to develop as unicellular trophozoites, and these trophozoites grows in size and central vacuoles develops, pushing them to one side of cytoplasm and becomes synaptron stage. Some of them become male gametes and female gametes too. Now it mixes up with the blood and releases a substance hemozoin, which is a toxin. It causes fever. This is called as erythrocytic cycle. When this trophozoites enter into mosquito by biting an infected person, the next cycle starts in the body of mosquito. Now, let's discuss the life cycle of Plasmodium in mosquito, the second stage. As we know, the first cycle occurred in human being where merozoites are developed and gametes are formed. When a mosquito bites an infected person, the merozoites and the gametes are taken up by the mosquito. When we see the body of the mosquito, the stomach, which is filled with RBCs of the infected person. RBCs of the infected persons contain macrogametocyte and microgametocyte also. That is, macrogametocyte is female gamete and microgametocyte is male gamete. So the blood is filled with these cells. Now, these male gamete and female gamete present in the stomach of mosquito develops into male and female gamete. The infected erythrocytes lyse and male and female gametes fertilize to form a diploid zygote called ookinete. you can see male gamete has spindle shaped fibers like and female gamete is spherical. The spindle shaped fiber like male gametes, they penetrate the female gamete, or we can say it as fertilization. As the result of fertilization, a slender ookinete is formed. The fused male and female gametes to form a slender, lengthy ookinete. Now the ookinete migrates to the mosquito's gut wall and develops into an oocyte. A cyst is formed, and this ookinete inside will undergo meiosis by a process called sporodony to form sporozoites. So many sporozoites will be present in the gut wall. Now these sporozoites migrate to the salivary glands of the mosquito. From the salivary gland, when this mosquito bites a healthy person, these sporozoites are injected or released into the bloodstream of the healthy individual.
Incubation period of this malarial parasite is 12 days. When it is inside the body, so incubation period 12 days, after 12 days the person gets fever, maybe chilled fever, high fever, depends upon the organism entered. So benign malaria, quartan malaria, tertian malaria, many types are there. Recurrent fever occurs, so after 48 hours, after 72 hours the fever continues. Okay, so what can we do for this malaria? Only thing is prevention. Prevention is better than cure, because WHO announced malaria eradication program, but it was not successful because they couldn't prepare a vaccine against this malaria. So it was resistant to this Plasmodium, and they couldn't do it. And even mosquito eradication was also not possible. DDT was not effective. Only thing is prevention. So the larval stage of the mosquitoes should be killed in the mosquitoes should be killed in the larval stage itself. That's the only thing. So stagnant of water, so applying oil in the ditches, all it will kill the larva. That is, the development of mosquito will not occur. And in ponds, special type of fish is called Rambusia, which will feed the larva of the mosquito, and this vector is stopped, that is killed. Then we can say in our homes we can use mosquito nets when we sleep, or mosquito nets for the doors and windows. So mosquito coils can be used. So once in a seminar it was asked, is it not problematic to use mosquito coils because that creates problem like asthma, respiratory problems? So the research scholar answered, so it is better to have little respiratory problem than having malarial disease. So dear students, understand, prevention is better than cure. Be safe now, being in corona COVID-19 stage. Stay home, stay safe. Thank you.